Oh! Fighting Spirit Wrestling fans, I am a long-time independent wrestling fan and supporter Robert. Lucha Libre Extravaganza 2016 is in the history books, and I will say so far this is their show of the year. We began with pre-show matches as Ozzy, who we knew as a referee for so long, defeated Rocky. Then in what was set to be a tag team match, pitting Maximo Suave and Chris Caden against The Breakfast Club, CPA and Francis Kipling Stevens, was about to get started until Team España, Jose and Jose B, interjected themselves and made a three-way match, and we ended up seeing The Breakfast Club defeat the Team España and Maximo Suave and Chris Caden. Then it was on to the main show as we saw the elite athlete Mike Orlando take on Maxwell Jacob Feinstein, who had Joe Bronson in his corner. Eventually, Ref Ozzy got bumped, and eventually Feinstein picked up the win. And then, to my surprise, it was the six-man tag team match, which saw Joel Maximo, Man of Steel Mike Verna, and Flawless Blake Morris take on Snot members Kevin Matthews, Mario Boccara, and Azriel. Surprised this match went on so early in the show. They had, let me see, it was Matthew, during the matchup, Morris super kicked Verna, walked out on the match. Verna got up, and he ended up giving Maximo the spine buster. Then Verna walked out on the match, and Maximo eventually got pinned, and the Snot picked up the victory, and they buried Joel under the Snot flag. But Joel then took the microphone to say he was challenging them to like maybe a 6-man or 8-man tag match next month at Legends. We'll get to that later on. Then it was time for another tag match. We saw the Hit Squad, Monster Mac and Danny Moff, defeat Team Lucha. And Hit Squad had their longtime manager, Johnny D, who managed them in Jersey All Pro Wrestling for so long. Hit Squad took the microphone after the match and proclaiming their respect for Team Lucha and saying that the indie wrestling matters. That'd make a great t-shirt. And it was Lucha, Team Lucha took the microphone. I forgot what they said. Up next, but they, obviously a good feeling, and hopefully Team Lucha will be back in the Northeast in the future. Up next, we saw a battle of huge men as Malta the Damager took on Suntan. During the matchup, Dashing D. Weatherford with a purple robe or cape, he's parading around the ring, and Malta picked up the win, and he wanted no part of Weatherford and knocked him down. I forgot what. Then up next, we were scheduled for the 5-way matchup, but Jigsaw was apparently unable to make the show, so we had a 4-way match instead, which saw Lince Dorado defeat Blue Demon Jr., Amasis, and the Latin Dragon. Very good matchup on this one, and it was very fast-paced. We had intermission at that point, and we had our crew picture. And it was then time for the show to resume as we saw the next match, AJ Spectre defeat Senor Eric Martin to retain the Primero Championship. Up next, we had a 3-way match for the tag team title where the Zoltan, Superstar Whiplash, and Chris Cage defeated the Elements, Iceberg and Pyro Pulse, and the Elite, Indestructible Joey Talon. And the Elements were eliminated first, and then the Zoltan went through Elite to retain the tag team title. During this matchup, the Breakfast Club were sitting at the commentators table with Wesley Bowles. Team España was sitting in the crew section behind us. And Maxwell Jacob Feinstein and Joe Bronson, they were sitting in the aisle watching the match. Joey, Tal, and Talon were like the last ones in the team in the ring, and Talon took the microphone saying something about, he's going to, I guess, take some time off, and Etel seemed perplexed about Talon's announcement. Then Ryan Peterson, the ring announcer's in the ring, and then all of a sudden, Chris Rex and Magma are brawling out the curtain, and their match pretty much happened and ended in no contest when the rest of Chris Rex's fellow Snot members, they're hitting the ring, and until elite athlete Mike Orlando came through the crowd and stopped the onslaught. So I guess Magma's problems with Snot are not over yet. Then it was time for a match that was seemingly 6 months in the making, an I Quit match between the End leader Ian Aldwin with PJ Stackpole, who's been in charge of FSW since Only the Strong back in February, and Aldwin took on Cyrus DeVille in this wild, crazy ride of a matchup which saw the use of crutches, Singapore canes. At one point, Cyrus took a glove with thumbtacks on it out of the bag and chopped Aldwin's chest, and yes, bloodshed. Aldwin eventually says to Stackpole, "Get it. Go get it." And Stackpole came out with a beer bottle in a cardboard box, and I thought the box had more beer bottles in it. And Aldwin turned the cardboard box over, and there were thumbtacks spread out in the middle of the ring, and Aldwin, I think, got suplexed on the tacks. Stackpole, I forgot, I'm sorry, at one point Ian handcuffed Cyrus to the ropes and kept hitting him with the kendo stick, but Cyrus would not say I quit. Cyrus, suplexed Ian on the thumbtacks. He then took the beer bottle and broke it over Ian's head, and at one point, Aldwin took the Singapore cane, hit Ref Ozzy with it, and the referee was not around for most of the match. Then Ozzy eventually comes back in the ring just in time for Cyrus to put Aldwin in the sharpshooter, and Aldwin said, "I quit," and PJ was very livid. And eventually Leon Mason comes to the ring, and he and Cyrus are like facing each other in the aisle, but nothing happens. Leon enters the ring, the music stops, and the crowd gets quiet, and Aldwin looks to Leon. Well, he looks to Stackpole and says, "Where was he?" And then he says, "Leon, where were you?" And then he says to Leon, "You don't listen to him," referring to PJ. "You listen to me." Ian slaps Leon in the face. But then Leon grabs Ian, choke slams him on the tacks, a second time, took the mask off and dropped it on Ian's prone body. So I don't know if this is the demise of the End and the End is crumbled, or what the whole ordeal is, but clearly PJ Stackpole was not a happy camper, and even looked right at Ryan Peterson as if to say, "Hey, wrap it up." And Ryan thanked the crowd for coming. Now, personal notes time. Great Sid, fellow crew members Melissa, Mike, Hyro, Nicole. Peter, I guess he's part of the crew now. Emilio, who made it for his second show in a row. Welcome back, Jonah, who had not been to a FSW event since Immortals Holiday 5 back in December. Great seeing Andrew and Nick. I think, I don't know if it's safe to say they're pretty much part of the crew now. There were pretty women in the crowd again, including the one lady who took the crew picture of us at intermission, and that one lady who was right behind me at Lion's Den, this time was 2 rows behind me in the crew section. I don't know if I'll ever get to meet her. Great seeing Elena and Joel Maximo. Joel, you said you ran out of t-shirts in my size, and you said you owed me one. It appears that I lost my Fighting Spirit Wrestling t-shirt, the one with the green logo on it. I imagine those babies have been discontinued. Or those ones that say Ready, Set, Fight on them, unless those have been discontinued as well. I went crazy looking for that shirt the day of the show. But I don't know if it will turn up somewhere or anything else. Now, What else can I say? Well, it looks like now former referee David Zubin is now back in the crowd. That New Orleans Saints lover. Let's see. What else can I say about this event here? Okay. Well, there were some memorable quotes here. Yay, I'm on YouTube! This one kid in the front row who really was really into the show, really seemed to enjoy it, and hopefully that kid will come back for a show. Retarded zebra! Crew chanting towards Ozzy, even though Kevin Matthews said it. Matthews said it during the six-man tag first. I don't know if FSW would consider having some sort of shindig where, wrestlers would be, I don't know. I mean, I know FWE did this one time before. Like having wrestlers, like celebrating a wrestler's birthday or have wrestlers there to do autographs and try to help plug like an upcoming show. Or maybe have some kind of gathering. I mean, hey, we the Crew came up with Fighting Spirit Karaoke. Even though most people don't know the rest of the words to Simple Minds' Don't You Forget About Me. I don't know, maybe some sort of gathering of some sort to really help garner more fans and maybe get FSW to do shows in bigger buildings. Fighting Spirit Wrestling returns Friday night, June 17th with Legends. Already scheduled to appear the return of Vince Russo, former ECW champion Jerry Lynn, Premier Athlete Anthony Nese, Pat Buck. I don't know if there'll be more added as time goes on, but here's a match wish list I have for the show. I'd like to see Man of Steel Mike Verna defend the championship against Flawless Blake Morris. I'd like to see the Zoltan against the Breakfast Club, against Team Espana, against Maxwell Jacob Feinstein and Joe Bronson in a four-way match for the tag belts. I'd like to see Leon Mason against Ian Aldwin. And I forgot what else I would like to see. Again, this so far has been FSW's best effort so far this year. And I guess it was just like that 70s song, and I forgot who sang it, but it went like this. Ooh, and it's alright, and it's coming along. We gotta get right back to where we started from. Well, I don't know if that's the name of the song, and I don't know who sang it, but what a great song it is, and that's kind of how I feel about FSW now. I mean, I'm sure it was a test for them to get over with the fans that come to American Legion who were so used to five-borough wrestling, but it's clear that FSW is just like the band Korn, here to stay. Or as Ozzy Osbourne said, not going away despite what any doubters and naysayers and Nimrods and dickheads and shitheads and whatnot believe. But what a night this was. Elena, we need you in a crew picture already. Joel's been in a few. Mike Verner's been in a few. We need you to come for a crew picture one of these shows. Oh, that reminds me of the Eagles song. One of these nights. Man, I gotta do it. Oh, but speaking of karaoke, man, it was great meeting Thomas. I forgot your last name, pal. But we took a picture after the show, and I definitely gotta come down to Strike 10 Lanes for karaoke some night, man. I just hope my work schedule changes someday. What a great show this was, and what a crowd we had. And for the second month in a row, the crew section was filled. Oh!